Have you ever woken up with a heart that feels too heavy to carry? You open your eyes and it feels like yesterday's pain followed you into today. You try to shake it off, but it clings to you like a shadow. Some days it feels like your soul is a shattered mirror, scattered across memories you wish you could erase. You smile for the world, you laugh with friends, but deep inside something is still broken. And no matter how much you distract yourself, the weight refuses to leave. You wonder, will I ever feel whole again? The truth is, healing does not begin when life suddenly becomes easier. It does not begin when people change or when circumstances fix themselves. Healing begins when the heart learns to trust again. Not in people, not in the promises of this world, but in the one who already knows how your story ends. Allah did not create you to carry every burden alone. Not the betrayal, not the missed opportunities, not the guilt that keeps replaying in your mind. Some weights are too heavy for the human soul. That is why He calls you to let go. You see, letting go does not mean it does not matter. It means you recognize it is breaking you. You may think holding on proves your strength, but sometimes real strength is in release. It is in whispering, I do not know what comes next, but I trust the one who does. There is something sacred about brokenness. It strips away illusions and brings you face to face with your desperate need for Him. If all this pain only brought you back to your knees, then it was never a punishment. It was a call to return. You were never abandoned. You are being redirected. He heard your silent cries. He saw the nights you could not sleep. And through every detour, He has been writing a better ending, one you cannot see yet, but one that begins the moment you let go and move forward. Why do so many of us stay stuck in the same pain for years? Why do we keep revisiting the same betrayal, the same loss, the same memory, as if repeating it will somehow change the ending? We replay the conversations, we relive the moments, we reopen the wounds, and we convince ourselves that maybe, just maybe, if we understand it better, the pain will go away. But pain does not always come with explanations, and even if it did, would it really erase what has already been written? What many people do not realize is that they have built a home in a moment that was meant to pass. They do not live in the present, they live in the prison of resentment, regret, and what-ifs. These chains are not visible to the world, but they are real. You are not stuck because life will not move. You are stuck because you refuse to let go. You tied your peace to an outcome you never received. You made your healing depend on an apology that may never come. You convinced yourself that unless the one who hurt you makes it right, you cannot breathe freely again. But what if I told you that your peace does not need permission from anyone but you? What if you stopped waiting for closure from the people who broke you? What if choosing to move forward was not defeat but freedom? Ask yourself honestly, is it worth sacrificing your future to prove a point to someone who no longer has power over your life? Is it worth losing your soul just to keep chasing justice in this world? Sometimes the deepest strength is not in standing your ground, but in walking away. Sometimes the loudest healing is in the quiet decision to stop looking back. You are not the only one who has been wronged. You are not the only one who has been overlooked, betrayed, or discarded. But here is the truth. Your value does not decrease because someone failed to see it. The door that closed was never your only door. It was only the one you thought you needed. And now something greater is waiting. But you will only see it if you turn your face away from the past and walk toward the future that Allah has already prepared for you. Letting go. 2 simple words, but one of the hardest things you will ever do. Not because you are weak, but because you cared, because you invested, because you gave a part of your heart to something or someone. And when you have poured so much of yourself into a relationship, a dream or a plan, walking away feels like tearing away a piece of your own soul. It feels like defeat. It feels like loss. But listen carefully. Letting go is not giving up. It is not failure. It is not losing. It is choosing your peace over your pride. It is choosing your future over your past. It is choosing healing over history. There is a kind of exhaustion that does not come from hard work. It comes from carrying what you were never meant to hold. Anger that burns in your chest. Revenge that poisons your thoughts. Regret that whispers you will never be free. These are heavy weights. You were not created to drag them with you. Allah created you to rise, not to rot in wounds that never heal. Imagine a traveler climbing a mountain with a sack of stones tied to his back. Each step gets heavier. Each breath feels harder. The higher he climbs, the lighter he must travel. That is how life works. To move closer to peace, you must let go of what drags you down. Yes, it hurts. It hurts to let go of someone you loved. It hurts to release a dream you built in your mind. It hurts to admit that something you wanted is no longer good for you. But it also hurts to stay in the same place. It hurts to relive the same pain year after year. It hurts to keep rehearsing the same scenes in your mind until they consume you. That pain has already stolen so much of your joy. Do not let it steal your future too. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "This ends with me." No more bitterness, no more chains, no more punishment for yourself over things that were never your fault. Allah has closed chapters in your life, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. He has taken things away, not to break you, but to free you. Your past is behind you for a reason. Your future is still unwritten. What lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. But you will not see it if your hands are still gripping what was. The moment you loosen your grip is the moment you will feel the weight lift, and that is when you will finally step into the life that was meant for you. There is a moment in history that silences every excuse we make for clinging to anger and revenge. A moment that stands as one of the greatest examples of mercy the world has ever seen. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, returned to the very city that once rejected him, a city that mocked him, a city that starved his people, a city that spilled innocent blood and declared war against the truth he carried. And yet when he stood at its gates with strength and authority, surrounded by thousands of followers, he did not enter to settle old scores. He did not come to humiliate the people who once tried to erase his name. He came with humility, his head lowered, his heart softened, his soul rooted in mercy and purpose. He asked the people one simple question: what do you think I will do to you today? Imagine the fear that filled their hearts. These were the same people who had mocked him, who had insulted him, who had tried to kill him, but now with no power left to fight, they stood trembling. And what did they say? You are a noble one, the son of a noble one. And what did he reply? Words that shook history, words that still echo centuries later. There is no blame on you today. Go, for you are free. Think about that. At a moment when he had every right to punish, he forgave. At a moment when revenge was within reach, he chose mercy. He could have taken everything from them, but instead he gave them something no sword could ever win. He gave them dignity. He gave them a second chance. He gave them freedom, not just of the body but of the soul. That act of forgiveness was not weakness. It was strength of the highest order. It was a revolution of the heart. This is the example we claim to follow. Yet how often do we hold grudges over things so small in comparison? A harsh word, a broken friendship, a misunderstanding that dragged on for years. We cling to pain as if punishing others will somehow heal us. But the truth is, hurting someone else never brings peace to your heart. It only keeps you chained to the very wound you want to escape. Healing does not come from revenge. It comes from rising above what tried to bring you down. If the Prophet, peace be upon him, could forgive at the height of power, what stops us from forgiving when we are on equal ground? What stops us from letting go when Allah has promised us greater rewards for patience and mercy? Maybe we are not weak when we let go. Maybe for the first time we are truly strong. Because strength is not in fighting battles that drain the soul. Strength is in walking away from what was and rising into what could be. Sometimes life takes something from you, and it feels like the ground beneath your feet has disappeared. You lose a job you depended on. You lose a relationship you thought would last forever. You lose an opportunity that felt like your only chance. And in that moment, the world feels unfair. You sit with your head in your hands asking, why now? Why this? Why me? The silence hurts, the emptiness aches, and your heart wonders if Allah has abandoned you. But listen carefully. Loss is not always punishment. Many times it is preparation. What feels like an ending may actually be the doorway to a beginning you cannot yet see. I remember a man who came to me with tears of frustration. He had been fired from his job suddenly, harshly, with no warning. His voice shook as he said, I prayed for growth, I prayed for promotion, I prayed for stability, and instead I lost everything. What kind of plan is this? And I asked him one question. Do you trust the one who wrote your story even when you do not understand the chapter? He looked at me in silence because that is the hardest question of all. We trust Allah when He gives. Do we trust Him when He takes away? This man was clinging so tightly to what he lost that he could not see what was being offered. He was holding on to a handful of coins, not realizing that Allah was preparing to give him gold. But here is the truth. The hand has to open first. That is what we struggle with. We cling to what feels safe. We cling to what feels familiar. Even when it no longer serves us, we cannot imagine life without it. So Allah in His mercy removes it, not to harm us, not to punish us, but to free us. Because how will you ever receive what is meant for you if your hands are full of what is not? And when that man finally let go, when he stopped replaying what was gone and started looking at what was in front of him, everything changed. New opportunities appeared, not one but many. Doors he never thought would open were suddenly unlocked. He told me later with a smile, if I had stayed angry, if I had clung to what was taken, I would have missed all of this. My future was waiting for me to simply turn around. That is the secret of loss. It is not always destruction. Sometimes it is direction. Allah does not close doors to leave you in the dark. He closes doors to turn your face toward the sunrise you are not even looking for. Trust is not built when life is easy. Trust is built in the silence after everything falls apart. It is built when you say, Ya Allah, I cannot see it, but I believe what is ahead is better. That is where true faith lives, not in the moments you understand, but in the moments you do not. And that faith is the bridge that carries you from despair into destiny. One of the heaviest questions people carry in their hearts is this: why does Allah allow pain? Why are the innocent hurt, the kind betrayed, the weak forgotten? Why do children suffer? Why do families break? Why do good people cry themselves to sleep at night? This question has echoed across centuries. It has been whispered through tears, shouted in anger, and buried in silence. And yet the answer is never found in logic alone. The answer leads us back to something deeper. It leads us back to trust. When storms hit our lives, we look for someone to blame. And often in our pain we look upward. We ask, Ya Allah, why me? Why now? But the truth is that most of the harm we see in this world is not sent from above. It is the result of human greed, human cruelty, human choices, the corruption of hearts that turned away from mercy, the selfishness of souls that ignored justice. Yet when tragedy strikes, we blame the one who is most merciful. We forget that He is the one who also sends healing after the storm. He is the one who plants hope in broken hearts. He is the one who brings justice when the world has failed. Allah does not command evil. He allows it for reasons that stretch beyond what our eyes can see. Sometimes to awaken a sleeping heart, sometimes to purify a soul, sometimes to raise a person to a station that comfort could never reach, sometimes to remind us of our desperate need for Him, and always to give us a chance to turn back, to rise, to reconnect. That is why pain is never wasted. It is always carrying wisdom, even when hidden from us. But what about justice? What about the innocent who were wronged? What about the tears that no one saw, the cries that no one heard? The truth is, justice is not lost, it is not forgotten, it is not denied, it is only delayed. There will come a day when every soul will stand, when every secret will be exposed, when every injustice will be balanced. On that day, not one deed will be overlooked, not one tear will be ignored, not one soul will be left behind. The scales of Allah are perfect, even when the scales of this world are broken. So no, Allah is not absent in your suffering. He is closest to those in pain. The Quran reminds us that He is near to the broken-hearted, near to the one who calls in desperation. Even when He does not remove the hardship immediately, He gives something greater. He gives strength to endure. He gives wisdom to grow. He gives patience that refines the soul. And He gives assurance that nothing you faced was ever in vain. The very breath you use to ask, "Where is Allah?" is proof that He has been sustaining you all along. There is a kind of heartbreak that does not always get spoken about. The quiet ache of a home that fell apart, the silence of a marriage that did not last, the grief of a love that slipped away, leaving nothing but memories. Divorce feels like failure even when you know it was necessary. It feels like grief even when you tried everything to make it work. And in a world that celebrates beginnings with joy but rarely honors endings with compassion, the pain can feel doubled. You stand between the pressure of people's judgment and the silence of your own sorrow, wondering if you will ever feel whole again. But I want you to know something with certainty. This is not the end of your story. You are not less worthy because a relationship ended. You are not broken beyond repair. Just because something did not last forever does not mean it was never real. Sometimes Allah allows things to fall apart so that your life can finally fall into place. Sometimes the bravest act is not holding on, but stepping away. Walking away does not always mean giving up. Sometimes it means growing up. It means choosing your soul over a situation that is destroying it. We live in a time where relationships are treated like glass, easily cracked, quickly discarded. Few want to repair, few want to bend. Many expect perfection, but few are patient with flaws. Yet real love was never about perfection. It was about forgiveness. It was about patience. It was about compassion through struggle. But when forgiveness has been given, when patience has been tested, when every effort has been made, and peace still does not return, then it is not weakness to walk away. It is wisdom. Allah does not ask you to remain in a place that is crushing your spirit. He asks you to protect the soul He entrusted to you. And for those who fear that they will never find love again, remember this: the one who created your heart knows exactly how to heal it. He knows the kind of love you need. He knows the person who will value you, honor you, and be a mercy for your soul. Ahead in your story are people you have not even met yet. People who will one day thank Allah that you went through what you did, because without that ending you would never have found each other. Your heartbreak is not the conclusion, it is the bridge to a new chapter. So do not let this chapter convince you that the book is over. Close it gently. Mourn if you must. Feel the pain, but do not stay in it forever. Your heart can bloom again. Better love awaits, not because you deserve a flawless story, but because you trusted the one who perfects everything in its time. Your value has never decreased. Your worth has never faded. You are still seen, you are still loved, and your story is still being written. There are chains heavier than iron, yet no one else can see them. Chains that bind not your hands but your heart. They are made of shame, guilt, and the memories you wish you could erase. Maybe you know what I mean. Maybe you have done things you are not proud of. Maybe you crossed lines you never thought you would. Maybe you hurt people who did not deserve it, or maybe you hurt yourself in ways no one else knows. And now, no matter how far you have come, your past whispers in your ear, you will never be enough. But hear me clearly, you are not your past, you are not your worst mistake, you are not the sin you committed in a moment of weakness. The same hands that once sinned can be raised in prayer, the same mouth that once lied can speak truth, the same heart that once wandered can find its way home, because the door of return is never closed. Allah has left it open for you until your final breath. He does not love perfection, He loves sincerity. He loves the tear that falls when no one is watching. He loves the heart that says, I have fallen but I want to rise. True repentance is not about erasing your story, it is about rewriting your ending. It is not about pretending you were never broken. It is about showing the world that mercy is real, that even in your cracks, His light can shine through. When you repent sincerely, something extraordinary happens. The very mistakes that once weighed you down become the reason you rise higher. The sins that once dragged you into darkness become the fuel for your humility, your compassion, your desire to draw closer to Him. The past you once tried to hide becomes proof that transformation is real, that Allah's mercy is greater than your flaws. Do not forget this. Allah is not waiting to punish you, He is waiting to purify you. He is not pushing you away, He is calling you back. The Quran reminds us again and again that His mercy is vast, that His forgiveness is near, that He loves those who turn back. Even if you have fallen 1,000 times, get up the 1,001st. Even if your past is filled with scars, those scars can become signs of your strength. Even if the world refuses to forget, know that Allah has the power to forgive and erase. So do not let your past chain you to the ground. Let it remind you of how far you have come. Let it fuel your drive to do better. Let it shape you into someone softer, wiser, more grateful. You were never meant to stay down. You were meant to fall, rise, and keep walking forward, stronger than before, closer than before, closer to the one who never gave up on you. There is something we all forget in the rush of life. Time is not promised. We live as if we own tomorrow, but none of us are guaranteed the next breath. One day the call to prayer will rise, but it will not be for us to answer. One day the sun will shine, but its warmth will no longer touch our skin. One day our names will be spoken, but only in the past tense. And on that day, nothing we owned will matter. Not the money, not the possessions, not the titles. The only thing that will remain is what we gave, how we lived, and who we became when no one was watching. So why wait? Why delay the return your soul is crying out for? Do not say, tomorrow I will change, tomorrow I will pray, tomorrow I will let go of the sins that chain me. Tomorrow is not yours. Only this moment is. Only the breath in your chest is. Allah is calling you now, while your heart is still beating, while your eyes still weep, while your soul still longs for peace. Come back before the page turns, and your story ends in a place it was never meant to. If you have delayed your prayers, start again tonight. If you have let go of your hope, hold it tight again. If you have walked far from the path, take one step back, just one, and the most merciful will meet you there. He does not require perfection. He only asks for sincerity. He does not demand that you come flawless. He asks that you come willing to try, willing to return, willing to whisper, Ya Allah, I am weak but I need you. That whisper is more powerful than every scream of despair. Let today be the day you finally let go of what is holding you back. Let it be the day you forgive, the day you release, the day you pray with a heart that is raw and real. Do not let the past choke your future. Do not let pride keep you in chains. Do not let hesitation steal the chance to rewrite your ending, because your story is not over. Not yet. Not while you still have breath in your chest. Not while your heart still beats. Not while your soul still longs for Him. The clock is ticking. The end is closer than you think. But the door of mercy is still open. Walk through it now, because one day it will close, and when it does, all that will matter is whether you returned before it was too late. So rise, let go, trust Allah with your story, because the best chapters are still waiting to be written.